Thank you. Well, so first of all, I want to thank our initial speakers for their great contributions. It's been really wonderful to have so many directorates and divisions interested in the work that we're doing. And so that's great. I'm Carl Kesselman, by the way, the PI along with Yang on FaceBase for now the last 11 years. At this point, we're going to do a kind of an update of what we've been up to for the past year and kind of some of our plans ahead. And hopefully you'll see those strongly aligned with what we had just heard. And I'm not going to talk, I'm going to turn it over to Rob Schuler, who is the technical lead on FaceBase and has primary responsibility for all of the wonderful achievements that we've had in the past year, at least on the technical side of things. So with that, I will turn it over to Rob, and he will give you an update as to what's going on.
All right, thank you. All right, as always, it's great to be able to give our update and let you know what we've been up to in the past year. Oops, give me 1 second here to find my slides. There we go. All right. Okay, well, as has been mentioned, we've entered into our 4th phase of FaceBase. We have our FaceBase 4 roadmap here, and we'd like to tell you a bit more details about our aims for this phase, along with some of our initial highlights that we've had so far. So before I do that, before I dive into our roadmap, I just want to take a moment to provide an overview again of FaceBase for those who aren't as familiar or maybe need some reminding. So as we enter into this 4th phase, FaceBase is going to continue to serve our as the trusted online data resource for craniofacial and dental researchers worldwide, and expand to include biologically relevant research and broaden across the translational spectrum. These are 2 major themes that have really guided this next phase of FaceBase. So along those lines, 1, providing a comprehensive data resource, 2, promoting multidisciplinary collaboration among researchers, 3rd, integrating genomic and phenotype data from multiple species, and 4th, utilizing multiple complementary resources and strategies to enhance data reproducibility. Okay, so again, just a reminder what all that FaceBase does. So FaceBase empowers fair data principles and usage throughout its platform and provides many AI and machine learning ready data sets for downstream analysis. So the FAIR, as you've already heard it mentioned before, but I'll just remind you again, the FAIR in FAIR data stands for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable data. These are internationally recognized kind of gold standard for the type of data we want to produce and reuse in science. So illustrated from left to right here, first of all, users find data on FaceBase through powerful, intuitive user interfaces. These are search and refine interfaces that are enabled by consistent labeling of data, which lends itself to accurate filtering and identification of specific data sets of interest. Secondly, researchers access data sets that have detailed descriptions and well-organized information about the experiments and biological characteristics within them. And this lends itself to interoperability between different resources, pulling together data that's in FaceBase and other resources, knowledge bases, repositories that are available. And then finally, reusing the data either through a variety of online visualization tools that are available on FaceBase or taking it offline for reuse in other pipelines. So we really strive to have, as much as possible, any kind of open, reusable data on FaceBase, and make sure that it's available for use in your own tools, offline, open source kind of tools. Next, of course, in the past year or so, we had the new data management and sharing plans requirement come out from the NIH. So this is obviously a great step forward in terms of ensuring that we have high quality reusable data that's being shared by all investigators. But of course, it comes with some challenges to be able to know how to fill out a DMS plan, what kind of vocabulary you're going to use. And a lot of investigators, that's not something that they've had to necessarily know before. And that's a resource that we can provide to investigators. So we provide things like templates for different categories of experiments that FaceBase supports. We have listings and explanations of for each section of the DMS plan. And if you go to the NIH site and you're looking for where do I share my data, FaceBase is listed as a recommended site by the NIDCR. And then, as has been mentioned, FaceBase operates in an open community model. So we encourage data submissions from anyone with relevant research that falls within our broadening scope across the translational spectrum. We have facilities for open access data as well as controlled access human subjects data. Data shared through FaceBase satisfies the requirements of publishers as well as sponsor requirements. Data are first-class citable publication grade works that you can reference in your papers and include in your data availability statements. Okay, so now let's get into our aims for this fourth phase of FaceBase. Yang gave an overview of our aims, and I'm just going to dive into some of our sub-aims here. So first of all, when it comes to addressing community needs and engagement across the full translational spectrum, we are our first sub-aim here is to share data across the full translational spectrum of DOC and related fields, expanding to broader biomedical and behavioral research to support data-driven science. Next, to support cross-disciplinary data use and contributions through training programs, tutorials, videos. So a lot of outreach, a lot of community engagement to bring in new members to our overall community. And then third here, to help researchers meet those NIH data management and sharing policy requirements. So we're gonna, although we have resources now, we're gonna continue to invest in that to help researchers satisfy their DMS plans, and to not only satisfy them, but to be able to help them do a successful job of the management part. The S in DMS is when you give data out for sharing. There's the whole M that comes before that. That's the internal data management. And we want to provide resources to help investigators do that, which makes it easier to do the sharing. Okay, and then in terms of enhancing quality of services and efficiency of operations, so first of all, deliver efficient, flexible, cost-efficient cloud hosting for high-quality data sets. So FaceBase already operates on the cloud. We have made a lot of investments into optimizing how we store data using intelligent tiering techniques so that we can grow and scale FaceBase to support all types and scales of data. Secondly, uphold and enhance our compliance with trust and fair principles. You've heard about FAIR. Trust is kind of, which I'll mention again later, is the underlying principles behind that core trust seal that's been mentioned a couple times. And then to promote data reuse by ensuring AI, ML, and DL, that's deep learning, readiness of data sets and offering tools for visualization and user interaction. Obviously, making data AI and ML ready is going to be a really key strategic agenda throughout the NIH, and we think we're really well positioned to help that in our fourth phase. And then fourthly here, enable interoperability with complementary data-intensive research resources. So whether these are large language models, those are like the intelligent chatbots or computational notebooks or computing environments, there's a huge amount of innovation obviously happening in that space. And we're going to seek ways to ensure that FaceBase is highly interoperable with those so that you can take data from FaceBase, use it in those new tools, be able to contribute back to FaceBase from them. All right, then in terms of government, implementing governance and enhancing best practices. So as I'm sure most of you are aware, FaceBase doesn't operate in a vacuum. We work really closely with our program staff, with our community members. We try to engage our advisory committee and external scientific group as well, and just the general community as well through usability studies, which I'll mention later. So along those lines, our aims are to regularly review and update our policies and data access, privacy, ethics to align with best practices. This is kind of an evolving space itself. There was, when we started our last phase of FaceBase, fair data principles were really well entrenched, but trust was kind of new. And so we adapted to that. So we anticipate more kind of improving our governance as we go along. Next, establishing an external advisory committee, which of course we have done by now. and then evaluating and strengthening our trustworthiness, continuing to be aligned with international standards. Okay, and with that, I'm just gonna highlight a few things here and we'll kind of go quickly through these. But this is where we stand so far, starting off in the fourth phase. So heading into this phase, we've really smashed our previous records. There's no other way to put it here. We've, in addition to growing our over 1,100 data sets, we've added, I think, another 15 projects, contributing projects in the past year to start this off. Over 900 mouse data sets, 90 human, 120 zebrafish, a couple chimpanzee, and 2 chick data sets. So FaceBase is very broad. We have everything from imaging. A lot of people think of us as just, we've got a lot of imaging data, which is true, but we also have genomic data as well, sequencing data in FaceBase, both open access on animal models as well as controlled access for human data. Our controlled access images have grown tremendously in the past year, 170,000 images, 40,000 in the open access. And then in terms of our usage, again, this is really off the charts numbers for us, over 90,000 data file downloads, nearly 40,000 online image views, over 500,000 track visualization reads. So, as well, over 270 publications. So really starting off with robust usage of FaceBase in this space. And then, as of course has been mentioned, we have a new partnership with the NIDCD. So, along the lines of expanding the community of FaceBase. So we started off FaceBase 4 knowing that we were going to have an exciting new partnership between the NIDCR and the ODSS, which we're really grateful. ODSS has been really instrumental in funding various technical and operational enhancements through supplementary awards to data resources and knowledge bases, which has been tremendous in setting the stage for this. And now they're a permanent partner with us. And then most recently, of course, as you've heard, we have this partnership with the NIDCD. And this is bringing the human temporal bone database to FaceBase, as has been mentioned. This is really a key engagement and an exemplar of growing our community and expanding. They're involved in our governance now, and this will be an important new resource. So by bringing the human temporal bone database to FaceBase, we're going to be able to make this resource a fair data resource. So it's going to be accessible, of course, under controlled access policies. We will leverage FaceBase's powerful search interfaces. We've been investing in developing a more patient-centric model for representing the data to make it available online, of course, under controlled access, but online, able to visualize data online, of course, able to download it and retrieve it for offline analysis. Our status so far is that we've done a lot of revisions and updates to our CADR, that's Controlled Access Data Repository, infrastructure and policies to be able to support adding new, what we would call tenants to it, like large new projects to FaceBase. We are in the process of onboarding the 4 participating sites that have data at this time with a collection of more than 350 terabytes of high resolution imaging data on the human temporal bone, along with supplementary information to support that. So this is a very, very exciting development for us. Next up, so along one of those sub-aims of working with complementary data resources is working with CranioRay. This is, if you're not already familiar, this is a system and repository and for doing craniosynostosis analysis, developing a proprietary severity score. So this again works as this is a prime example of working with complementary resources. The goal there is CranioRay is to increase our understanding of cranial dysmorphology in patients with metopic craniosynostosis by employing advanced machine learning technology and statistical shape modeling. CranioRay will analyze user-uploaded CT scans of patients with craniosynostosis to create an objective severity score. So again, tying together the themes of machine learning, AI/ML ready data, and making FaceBase a prime area where you can access that data and have it organized well for the rest of the community. So we'll be able to make this this valuable patient data available more rapidly, because we're working in a close partnership here where we've developed APIs and worked with them on establishing data sharing and data representation standards within FaceBase, so that as data comes into CranioRate, it'll be able to be shared through FaceBase more readily. All right, and another development in this past year is that we are now an approved destination for NIH HEAL Initiative investigators. So continuing along the lines of expanding the scientific reach of FaceBase to include biologically relevant research and incorporating complementary data resources, we're now through discussions with the NIH HEAL Initiative approved as a destination for their data. So I'm sure you're probably familiar with it, but of course, the NIH HEAL Initiative is a nationwide effort to accelerate research and solutions to the opioid crisis, supporting over 1,000 projects, and it focuses on better understanding and treatment of pain and improving prevention and treatment of opioid misuse and addiction. So we're already in talks with a HEAL Initiative investigator, and data will come to us in the near future. Okay, and then now in terms of other data highlights of the past year, we've had a broad range of new data. In particular, I just want to highlight a few things given our aims to expand the range of FaceBase for more translational, clinically relevant data and or public health data. So going to one of the main objectives of the NIH to focus more on public health as well, among other things. So these first few data sets here that I want to highlight, OFC 1 and 2, these are orofacial clefting data sets. The overall goal of the orofacial cleft projects was to identify etiological factors, primarily genetic loci variants involved in orofacial cleft birth defects, including isolated cleft lip, isolated cleft palate, and cleft lip with or without cleft palate. And through a deep phenotyping paradigm and recording pregnancy history, the project investigated a wide variety of phenotypic features and risk factors in individuals with OFC, their relatives, and unaffected controls. And then OFC 2 was a related study to that. And I just want to highlight the scale of these. So these are public health related data sets. And in OFC 1, there were over 29,000 subjects that were from across 29 different sites around the world. And OFC 2, with I believe just a small fraction of overlap, has another 24,000 subjects. So it's a really massive, what we might call a data set, is really its own database in its own right. So these are really large collections, and they have thousands of images as well in these. And then another data set as well is CORA. This was a study that investigated factors that contribute to the disparately increased rates of dental caries in children living in Northern Appalachia from birth through age 10. So just to give a sense of scale of this one, another 2,900 subjects, 829 households. So with OFC 1 and 2, there were on the order of 60,000 images, 3,000 surface meshes, several thousand movies. And with CORA, there were another 2,800 surface meshes as part of that study. So really, really large collections of data with both clinically relevant information, public health detail, and a lot of imaging data as well. And all of this is in addition to a tremendous breadth of new data from other contributors. So everything from single-cell RNA-seq, single-cell ATAC-seq, spatial transcriptomics, CHIC data, enhancer activity, micro-CT, fluorescence microscopies, even scanning electron microscopy. And we have dozens more fully curated data sets that are pending release to be timed with publication. So we support an embargo model. So if you contribute your data and you want it to go out with your publication, we do that. So we have many more data sets that are just pending release of publications. And then a full pipeline of upcoming data from the groups that I've mentioned already and more. Okay, so now moving to another particular highlight is, let's see if I can start the video playing. There we go. All right, is spatial transcriptomics data. So we now have data using this new technology, spatial genomics in FaceBase. We will have raw and processed spatial genomics data set of mouse embryonic heads, and it's now available in FaceBase. It can be directly visualized using a viewer called the SGN Light Viewer. So we have a team within FaceBase that has been working on this and actually working with the vendor to make those tools available for anyone. So you can come to us and you can get that viewer. The data is all stored in open standard formats. There is an open source viewer, so you have different options for how you can access that. But this represents an area where we keep pushing forward to new data types, new exciting modalities of experiments that we can support in FaceBase. Okay, and it's been mentioned before, I think the slides before are better than mine, but FaceBase, we continue to seek to be a highly reliable steward of research data. And as has been mentioned, yes, we did go through about a 2-year application and certification process to be awarded with the Core Trust Seal. And that's kind of special in a way because as much as it's good to be recommended by our NIH sponsors, this represents a third-party independent validation that is recognized internationally about how to be a data steward for scientific data. This touched on issues of sustainability, data retention, overarching governance, user engagement models, and just how we're overall serving the community, how we're responsive to our user base. Most of this was involved improving internal documentation, some of our public documentation, filling the gaps, some standard operating procedures where needed. So it was very exciting to be awarded that, and I appreciate the mention before about it as well. Okay, and then what you may or may not know is that the genomic data sharing GDS policy has been revised recently, and this has meant that we have updated some of our procedures, our security procedures, to align with a standard out of the National Institutes of Standards and Technology called the NIST 853. That's the last time you have to hear about that. But we are aligning very closely with this framework, and it is a cybersecurity policy that NIH has chosen for any CADRs that are handling, as we are, controlled access data securely. And then an additional highlight, I know I'm jumping around a bit here, but our highlights are just, we have a variety of them across different themes. So in terms of improving the usability of FaceBase, we, this past fall, we collaborated with a group out of Purdue University called SGX3, and they are kind of a academic team that conducts usability testing. That the UX stands for user experience. And this focus was on how researchers interact with our data submission process, because we wanted to identify bottlenecks and really streamline to our growing community the interfaces and procedures for getting data into FaceBase. So this involved some streamlining of how data is organized, how files are uploaded. So if you've ever submitted data to FaceBase before, it has changed in subtle but very significant ways that we think will really improve your experience. So we look forward to gathering more feedback about this new approach. And then last, a little teaser here along the lines of AI-powered tools. So we've had some student research going on about how to incorporate large language models. Those are the technologies behind intelligent chatbots and how to use those to curate data. So we're looking at ways to incorporate chatbots from, in our early study here. It's very small, early study, but going from a little bit better than a guess with a out-of-the-box chatbot for aligning terms from locally coded non-standard terms to FaceBase identified and approved terms, from a little bit better than a guess to upwards of 99% accuracy by incorporating additional outside data into the process that the language models use. So I won't go into further detail there, but we're looking at ways to be innovative about data curation as well as data usage. And then just final thoughts here. So we are seeking to reach a critical mass to expand beyond DOC. Of course, DOC remains a core, but expanding to those related areas with a three-pronged approach to obtain this critical mass of data, increasing the types of data, increase volume of data, and increasing the number of contributors. FaceBase data platform is really a key part of that, combining an extensible data model, automatic generation of our curation interfaces, extensible plugin architectures for data processing and visualization. Strides plays a key part. That's a discount program for cloud usage. We're on the cloud, always looking for ways to improve the utilization of cloud resources in optimal ways for storage, and then increasing our operational support through leveraging FaceBase's multifaceted team. So we're not just purely, of course, a technical team, but we have a team of biology experts as well who are partners on this. And with that, I just want to again thank everyone who's a part of FaceBase. Both our staff, our program staff are really instrumental. We work closely with pretty much everyone or most of everyone here on a regular basis. So, and most of all, thanks to our sponsors, the NIDCR, NIDCD, and ODSS. Thank you.
Before we open up to questions, I just wanted to relay a comment from Mary Marizzi remotely about the OFC and Cora data sets. She just wanted to make sure that we know that the whole genome genotyping SNPs and whole genome sequencing are also available through dbGaP with linking information and codes included in the FaceBase data set. So it's an example of how cross-linkage and related linkages to other platforms.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. And that's such a tremendous effort by Mary Marizita's team, and Seth Weinberg, Joel Anderton put a ton of work into that, and Jennifer Maurer. So many thanks to the curation effort, because it was a really massive data set.
So any questions? Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.